Okay, welcome to another episode of Modification Monthly. This month we are going to be putting a new chain and sprocket on my bike. I have decided to go one less tooth down in the front with a Renthal sprocket, so I think it's 16 teeth rather than 17. Apparently it's going to give my bike a little bit more grunt and a little less top end. Doesn't really bother me too much with a little less top end because I'm rarely doing 200 miles an hour on the streets. So if it does give me 170, 180, I'll still be happy, but we'll see what happens after living with it for a little while. I am a little bit concerned it's going to make the acceleration so aggressive that I'm really going to struggle to keep the front down through first, second and third. It's not exactly easy at the minute, even with the standard configuration of front and rear sprocket, but I'm going to give it a look. I'm going to see what it's like and obviously give you guys some feedback on how that went.
2,000 years later.
Got the job done, and successfully might I add. Obviously had my concerns being a bit of a mechanic, novice should I say. Done my research, watched plenty of videos, spoke to my mechanic who actually backed me to do the work myself. He actually encouraged me to do these little jobs, which is unusual because normally a mechanic needs as much money as he can get, but you know, that's very kind of him. That's the sort of guy that he is. So as far as actually doing the job goes, I'll be honest, it wasn't the easiest thing I've done on my bike. It was concerning at times. The first attempt I actually had to abort, mainly because I couldn't get the front sprocket undone. I basically had just a normal size wrench and I couldn't literally undo it for love nor money. So obviously if you are going to try and do it yourself, then you need to make sure that you get a breaker bar or a massive wrench. So what I went and done is bought another torque wrench, but it's about 2-3 feet long, so it gave me way more leverage to put the pressure needed on that front sprocket to get it undone. So obviously the video I've just shown, that was the second attempt, got the sprocket undone successfully, and that all went pretty well, to be fair, because I was really concerned whether I was going to get that off and just have to take it to my mechanic and get him to do it. So to be honest, it wasn't that difficult, but it does just raise a few little concerns if you've obviously never done that sort of job before. So first, getting the sprocket off, cutting the chain was a bit interesting. So many opinions I've found on how to do that. Some people say just cut the chain straight up. Some people say smooth the heads off the pins and then just push the pins out with a breaker tool, riveting tool. I went for the method of just, you know, rubbing the head straight off the pins and then putting a screwdriver, flat-headed screwdriver behind that plate and just wrenching it off, and that really worked for me. And if you're not going to keep your chain, I'd recommend you just do it that way. It's way more easy. As far as the riveting on the chain goes, all went pretty well with the exception of the tool that I bought. So I did explain that it's a cheap eBay purchase, and I did have my concerns about whether it would work or not, and it did work, but in the process of me riveting them pins on the master link, the actual tool itself, like the mushroom pin that I showed you, that just completely deteriorated, just completely mushed over. I don't know what grade of steel that they use for that implement, but yeah, it didn't last. But I've checked the pins numerous times and it's definitely splayed the pins, so I'm feeling relatively safe. This is actually my first ride out. I've been out for about an hour, pulled over a couple of times and just checked them pins on that master link, just being doubly sure, and they look absolutely fine. The plates haven't moved at all, and the bike feels good. So as far as the job goes, I'd say it's only difficult as you make it, and if you have a go and be patient and persevere, you'll be absolutely fine. So as far as the sprocket, one less tooth on the front goes, the bike does feel way different, to the point where I'm finding when I'm just cruising around town, I'm having to change gear quite a lot, which was apparent a moment or two ago, and quite annoying. And when you actually cruise in the gear, you know, if you're around town, you're in third, I might have to cruise in a slightly higher gear. So if I'm cruising in fourth, if I come up to some lights, I've got to change down like 3 gears to stop, which is something else I've noticed. The throttle does feel a little bit more responsive, I'm not going to deny that, but obviously the bike was absolutely rapid to begin with. So is it sort of worlds apart from where I was as standard? I would say no, but it does feel more responsive, and the bike does feel quicker. The major thing for me though was the speed in each gear. So like if you're used to certain roads and you go into a corner in say third or something like that, you may need to go into that corner in a better gear. But yeah, as I said, once you get used to it, which I'm sure I will, obviously I've got roads like this one that I've been down 100 times and know the corners and know what gear roughly I should be in when I'm having a bit of fun. And yeah, that's caught me out a few times. I've kind of been in the 2 lower gear, I think, for corners that I would normally just cruise around. So that's definitely one thing about changing the sprocket that I've noticed. The other things, it definitely is quicker. I've actually wheelied in 5th today, and that was pretty shocking because the bike's never wheelied in 5th before, like a power wheelie. So for it to do that, it definitely caught me out. The other major thing, as I said, you get less speed out of each gear. Please stop braking, for God's sake. You're getting less speed out of each gear. I'm definitely noticed the top end has been affected massively. I think that's the most noticeable thing for me, is that the top end, when I've had a look at it, and obviously I've gone to a private airfield and tested that on my own, which I'm not going to post because it's private land. I don't really want to, you know, promote that. So overall, am I happy with the modification? I've got 1 less tooth down on the front. I'll be honest, the bike is kind of feeling like a really fast 600, like how little speed you get out of each gear. It's really hard to explain. I'll be honest, I really don't know whether I'm going to stay with this configuration of sprocket. I'm going to live with it for a little while and see how it goes, because I'll be honest, if you get a litre bike, you're not really wanting the feel of a 600, if that makes sense, in the sense of like how like crazy the power and the speed is. Yeah, I really can't explain it at the minute because I haven't ridden on the bike for long enough. As I said, I've been out for about an hour, and as I said, the gearing is definitely different, and I think I like it. The bike feels quicker, more responsive, without doubt. But as I said, is it something I can live with forever? You know, when I go to the Isle of Man, when I really can be getting on it really a lot and getting them top speeds out, I don't know. But yeah, responsiveness, like speed, it really feels really crisp. Yeah, I can't say I recommend it quite yet. It's really down to personal preference. I'm already thinking, shall I go back to standard configuration of sprocket, because you've always got that lunacy of speed above 150. And at the minute I haven't maxed it out yet, but I feel that it's going to kind of run out of puff about 170, which, you know, sounds a lot. It is a lot, but when the bike had nearly cracked, well, what felt like 200, I'm just maybe having a little bit of second thoughts, I don't know. But yeah, the throttle feels amazing. It gets through the gears really quickly. As soon as I got out on it, I really went for it, got through first to fifth so quickly. I mean, it's definitely faster than standard. So whether I can live with it or not remains to be seen. So I hope you've enjoyed this content and found it of use. There'll be more from Modification Monthly. There is definitely something big coming up soon. Obviously not going to be power, because I think I'm pretty much there at the minute with power, but it's going to be a huge cosmetic change. So definitely stay tuned for that. Please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.